Truth be told, every champion has felt it. Every president has felt it. Every king has felt it. Every lion has felt it. Every winner has felt it. Every soldier has felt it. Every victorious person has felt it. The urge to quit.
Crossroads, life's tolls, life goes. I gotta win. W my lockdown. You can't rewind.
Hey, how are you guys doing today? This is your host, Sonya, with the Remember Who You Are 222 podcast. I have my guest, Tammy, here with us today. She's actually in my class for the master's program in consciousness, psychology, and transformational leadership. So how are you doing today, Tammy?
Oh, fantastic. Sonya. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I was like jamming to that intro to your music. I was like, yeah, I was about to like get going with it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Like beast mode.
Right. Yeah, I love it. That was like me in the military. So
yeah. I got it.
You know, I mean, beast mode, but then at the same time hiding a lot of subconscious patterns I didn't realize.
Oh yeah, I gotcha. No, I felt that at the same time. You know, I remember those moments. I remember those same types of training where it's like you're doing all this, but you're hiding so much at the same time. Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. And I love that too. Tammy was also in the military, so but we'll get into her story. Let me just introduce her a little bit before she does that. So Tammy Ward is a guide who powerfully blends innate spiritual wisdom with 2 decades of practical leadership experience. She has been a natural empath since childhood, maintaining a profound and authentic connection to the spiritual world and the wisdom of spirits beyond this realm. For 9 years, Tammy has channeled this wisdom, offering transformative life coaching and spiritual readings to clients across the globe. She began her practice in 2016, following a 2-decade military career where she motivated and mentored high-performing teams and individuals to develop mission-focused, self-enhanced habits. So this extensive background provides her clients with an unparalleled framework towards alignment and transformation. I love that. So why don't you tell our audience more of what your story was and how you came into doing the spiritual side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think my mission, all of that is just, you know, the human and spiritual integration. And that's what I've really just done a lot of work on. You know, growing up, I grew up in a home of very abusive, very, you know, abandonment. We were homeless a couple times in our life. The switch between, I had divorced parents. So, you know, going from one household that was like wild and do what you want, you know, eat the ice cream for dinner. And the other was, you know, prim and proper. We go to church and the Pentecostal religion, and you live by that life. And so, you know, that those 2 type of, you know, environments, really, you can lose yourself a little bit in trying to find who you are in those moments, and have empathy and sympathy for everything that goes around. I have a twin sister. I have five older brothers, you know, different other siblings that are half and step at that as well. And so, you know, being the youngest, you don't really get to be seen. You know, by the time my twin and I were being raised, it was like, I just let them do their thing and see what, hopefully they don't get in too much trouble, right?
Yeah.
But you know, it was definitely one of those things where there's this, I think it's Gabor Mate who talks about where you're not raised by the same parents. And even as a twin, I was definitely not raised by the same parents. My sister was very much loved and cherished by my family, and I was not. I was very different. The black sheep, I guess you could say. The one that you could tell was always the different one, and whether that be energetically or spiritually, they felt. Plus, I was the gay one. And so that and the Pentecostal religion was just not something. And then when I came out, it was just a disownment. There was an emotional emancipation that happened, and then a separation from the time I was 14 on. I've been on my own. And with that comes a lot of growth, and with that comes a lot of pain, and with that comes a lot of bearing of hiding that we were talking about earlier. And then right after high school was just straight into the military. It was like, okay, I think this is my only way out. My only way out of this small little town that is just sucking me down. And so I joined the military, and from there it went back into hiding because we had don't ask, don't tell. And so it was like back into hiding. And then it was just this trying to understand where I fit in the mix of all of it, and finding my strengths at the same time. So there's a lot of strengths. There was a lot of greatness that was happening. And I think coming into it was just really finding my own self near the end of my career. Like we talked about, there was a lot of times when the universe, I could hear these voices, I could sense the sensing of like, it's time for me to move on. It's time for me to grow. It's time for me to see outside myself and know what is truly innately remembering who I am. Not just as a human being and what I'm here to do, but also as a soul and what I'm here to learn. And the reason why I like to do that in that sense of like the human being and the soul doing is because I think the soul is here to help us to remember. And the human has to be able to agree and accept that remembering and say, okay, I do remember. Let me live this path. And, in growing up, there was a lot of, a lot of beat down. There was a lot of manipulation, a lot of lying that went on that created these pockets of what is true, what is right, what is my truth, what is their truth. And especially in the Pentecostal religion, where it was you're being preached to these sermons, but innately inside I'm going, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's not exactly what they meant. I'm pretty sure like we are the source. We are the ones we're supposed to love. And then from that love gains perspective on how we can love others. So it's okay, love ourselves first and then love others after that. Instead of finding love with others will help you find love within yourself. Finding love with God will then help you find love within yourself. And for me, I trust and believe that we are all God. We are all source. We are all light in that. And with that, it's the remembering that loving ourselves then loves others. And so, yeah, I think getting into where I'm at right now is just that progression into there where I have, done the practices, done all those practices of not just looking at all kinds of different religions, but definitely looking at practices of where I am remembering myself, practices of like, I can't sit crisscross applesauce and into a meditative state for long periods of time. In the beginning, that was no way. In the beginning, it was like, I'm sitting here, nothing's happening. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, okay, what? I mean, I'm supposed to go from military state of mind, from this constant looking over my shoulder, this constant work, train hard, take your emotions out of it, don't feel anything, to now I'm supposed to feel everything. So that transition is not easy, right? And I think with not just from the military, but say if you're not even in the military, say if you just come from a family that way, or like you were the straight A student, or you have this achievement mentality, or you have this no one hears me mentality, even that, just to get into out of our conditioned way of being and into this understanding of unconditionally feeling where it's at in our bodies, right? So yeah, at first my practice was like, nope, got nothing. But I didn't want to give up on myself, right? Because I knew there was something to learn. I just kept feeling this pull. And with that pull was just, the practice of like, okay, let me read something, whether it be a self-help book that we call out there, or whether it be, a guru or whatever it was. I mean, the one thing about me is I never stuck with anything specific. I never really dived deep into learning about deities or Buddha or anything like that. I just touched on everything. And whatever
Mm,
resonated, I kept, and whatever didn't, I just chucked it in the bucket. Right. I
mm,
was just like, that doesn't resonate. That part doesn't resonate with who I am or who I'm
mhm,
remembering myself to be. So I'm just going to put it over here. Because I
mhm,
understood, like I understand definitely now that there's stages and phases. If
mhm,
I would have tried to understand Thich Nhat Hanh's fear in the beginning, I would have
mhm,
not have received the message.
mhm,
I needed to understand where fear was at in my body, where what fear was coming up for
mhm,
me to finally understand 2 or 3 years later to read the book of Fear by Thich Nhat Hanh and then
mhm,
say, okay, I can understand that.
mhm,
Right. And so so understanding the phases and stages for me was a huge part of my growth. And
mhm,
within that, I just kept leaning into, that whole adage, like, if when you leap, the net will appear.
mhm.
I used to think all the time that I was the leap. And then I understood that I was the net. Like
Yeah.
the leap was all the information. The leap was all the people that was coming at me or giving me or feeding me, or I was deciding or choosing to allow it to feed me. But I
Mhm,
was really the net. I was the one catching myself in it on whether or not I was going to stay or go or whatnot. And I think just that continuation of practice and just trusting, because
mhm,
trust was so big for me. And I'll give you a reason why. Trust was so big for me because when I was growing up, as I said, I was in a very abusive family.
mhm,
Um, and when I say abusive, it means I was really the only one being abused. For some
mhm,
reason, there was like this disconnect of bonding between my stepmother and I.
mhm,
And I see it back then, I saw it as, what the hell's wrong with me? Right? What is
mhm.
wrong with me that this woman cannot like me? I thought
Yeah.
for the longest time it was because I looked like my biological mother. I thought it's because I look just like her. I act just like her. Maybe that
Mhm,
is the disconnect, right? I thought for a really long time that was it until I actually asked her.
mhm,
And she really just said, I just didn't bond with you. And so that
mhm.
bond set me off a little bit because then
Yeah.
I understood the way she was raised was the same way. She
Mm,
didn't bond with her abuser. And the cycle went on and on. So
mhm,
then I was like, oh, it had nothing to do with me. This was a cycle.
mhm,
And then later on, stages and phases, I understand now that it was a soul contract. I
mhm,
understand now that she blessed me enough to do that for me so I can learn the lesson to get here now
yeah.
and to learn that lesson about trust. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Oh, baby. Hi, baby. Hi, bud.
You want to say hi?
Hello. Too cute. Ah,
He
look,
likes
he's like, how is that? I'm invisible. I'm not invisible. I'm
Yeah, that's what he
invisible.
likes
I'm
to
not
play with.
invisible.
What is going
He's
on?
like, I remember when this happens in the spirit world. Here I am, there
Right.
I'm not, right? So I think that's what it was about the trust. I had to learn how to trust myself and trust what I was
Mhm,
going through.
mhm,
And that was a huge lesson for me, is to trust the information I was receiving and trust the growth that I was doing. And that
yeah,
was beautiful. Yeah.
yeah. I love that. It is pretty crazy how you were saying earlier how we sounds like we have pretty parallel lives. Like a lot of that resonates with me
Hmm.
too. Like
Yeah.
it was just me and my sister growing up, and and I was the one that was treated, the worst, and
Yeah.
um, you know, and so I was the bad one. But yeah, I mean, now I realize that it was a soul contract to teach me,
Yeah.
I had to learn self love, and I'm
Right. And
still.
still learning it, right? I know I'm still learning it. And I remember, a few months ago, I was in a retreat doing some plant medicine, and I was just having a conversation because now my stepmother has passed. Her human body is no longer on this plane.
Mm,
And I was having a conversation with her spirit to spirit. And there was this true understanding where she helped me understand. She goes, do you know how hard that was for me as a spirit to do that to you?
Mm,
Like it was
yeah.
hard for me, but I knew that that's what you wanted to learn. So I
Yeah.
agreed to it.
Agreed to
I know, bud.
it. Yeah, baby, come on. Here. What do you want? Do you want some food?
Give him some food.
Here,
Yes, good.
here, baby. No,
Yeah,
you.
so I mean, that was a profound moment to hear that, to like understand, like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I can only imagine as a soul, as a spirit who's in like all this love and vast love, and you
Mm-hmm.
say yes to like doing that to somebody, that would be,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
And I know it takes a lot to get there, like your audience or whoever's listening. I know it might take a lot to even get to that point of like understanding, but that's where we talk about the remembering who you are and the remembering why we're here in this learning school of earth, is to understand like this is all just, we're supposed to take in, it's education, right? I know we're in a master's program about consciousness and psychology and transformation, but like really we're getting our doctrine and like this thing called earth, right? I mean, so and so that's the whole other beautiful part about it as well, is that, and I think from those practices and from those understandings and from that trust, I'm able to share that knowledge and see that in other people and utilize my growth from understanding to see where everybody's at as well, to meet them where they're at
Right.
whatever stage or phase they're at, and to show them how they can remember who they are inside innately as well. And that's beautiful for me. Yeah. And for them.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it is pretty crazy once you change that perspective, because there are a lot of bad things, crazy things that happen here on earth that's hard to fathom that we
Oh, yeah.
chose it.
Mhm.
So I do think sometimes it's even hard for me I spoke with somebody, it was like over the last few months, but somebody who it was like her stepdaughter lost a child, and the baby was only 8 weeks old, and she was actually sleeping with the child, and when she woke up it had suffocated. And so it was like, wow, like and so in those situations I felt like for me it was like the best. I think she just needed somebody to talk to and tell the story to.
Yeah.
And I just listened, like
Yeah.
and so I feel like in those situations it's like it's hard to say, but I guess once you get into more onto the spiritual side, you do start to discern like when's the right time to say something, or where you kind of see where people are at and meet them where they're at. Do you have a lot of experience with, or is more of your experience with people that come to you because they're ready?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think energy is always there. And there has been probably, I would say a year ago, maybe around this time, there was a moment where in meditative state, I just opened up and I just said, I now aligned with all the soul contracts that I made agreements with in this lifetime. So I opened up this field of energetic connection to anybody who wanted to be in alignment with me in this lifetime, right? But I do think that there is an energetic connection that people feel with one another, right? And I think you feel it too, like when we're in class together, or like whenever we meet other people, like we feel that energetic connection. We know that there's something there that we can hang on to. Even like when we're talking about the parallels, just like we were talking about the remember who you are, the 222, like these are things that I say and see all the time. So I was like, of course this is going to line up, right? There's no doubt in my mind. And I think when people also come into me for coaching or for intuitive readings, whichever one they prefer, I think it's also in that sense where it's also teaching me something at the same time. If there's something there for me to receive as well. Because I think we're in this pocket of energy where it's a conversation. Exactly when you're talking about, when you mentioned about this beautiful woman who, unfortunately lost her 8-week baby, to the suffocation. I mean, that is I mean, there is no, I mean, both of us who have children, there is nothing in the world. I mean, tears automatically come to my mind. You know, I mean, like it hurts my heart for her immediately. You know, and I'm also on that side of understanding that I've actually had people who I've had readings with where spirit has come in and said that sometimes whenever that happens with children at such a young age, that the energy of the child is actually a part of the soul of that person because they wanted to experience that in this lifetime.
Yeah.
And so it's all different, and it's and I think it's all everything that's connected. Like your son right now, I think he's very connected to our energy. This energy that we've opened up about spirituality and understanding, because at his age, they're more closer to source than we are.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
and I think that's so beautiful. But yeah, I think clients and people who are looking for readings, they come to me whenever they're ready because they're receiving some sort of information. You know, yeah. And so I think that happens with everybody. You know,
Yeah.
some sort of connection is there, and you just
that makes sense.
that's when the human integration and the spiritual integration happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the divine orchestration.
Oh my God, I could just run my fingers through his hair right now. It is just so freaking cute. I love it. Oh my gosh.
Or I guess I could say we could call it like a frequency match or something. When you're at a certain frequency, only certain people recognize it, and it's like subconscious. I don't know. It's something that I've.
Well, I mean, I feel like I've always had that. I've always joked around my whole life saying I must have this sign on my head that says, "Tell me your whole life story." Because I can go anywhere and people will just open up to me. All I have to do is say, "Hello, how are you?" And it will be like, bam. It's like a whole life story just like exploded. And I think that's just because they sense something, some sort of like connection where they feel safe. They feel comfortable with sharing. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
I do feel like that's happened to me a lot too, where people just tell me things.
Yeah. It's like, okay, here I am. Yeah. Or like another way of telling that is whenever you, like a lot of times whenever my family and I will go to a restaurant, we'll get in just fine. Like we'll get in, we'll sit down, everything's great. And then by the time we get our food, we'll look out and there's like a line out the door. So it's like they say that's where like your energy is like your frequency is operating on such a high level that people are just drawn to it. And so they're like, oh, let's go to this restaurant. Let's go to this. So it's like just happening. And that's why I always say, be careful when you're having conversations with people or arguments with others, because that is a line of frequency, right? I mean, it's just like, you know, when you're in an argument with somebody and it's just like rage, blame, shame, or whatever it is, you're creating this pocket of energy. And then that energy will go up in the air, right? And it will align with all the other angry energies in the world. And then that aligns together. And it's just like, it's like you gotta be mindful. That's the mindfulness that's out there in the world. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, that's definitely true. And that's something you really don't even realize until you do become like conscious of it.
Yeah.
So
well, and that's a part of remembering who you are. You know, that's why I love, you know, your catchphrase there, because if we do remember that, then perhaps we can be more mindful when we're having conversations with people, right? Because, you know, our society has taught us that communication is the key, right? But I believe that kindness is the key to communication. So if we can always take a step back, because a lot, like even I don't know if you had this as well, but you know, coming out of the military, even in the military, a lot of anger resided within me. A lot of anger. I was mad at I was mad of like, you know, that I had to go to places and be in war that I didn't want to go. Missions, all those things, right? And it's like all that anger was so heavy that it was almost as if like I was projecting that onto everyone I came in contact with. I was projecting it.
Yeah.
You know, and then I had to take a step back and not project it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Buck.
Really true. Yeah, my baby. Okay, hold on a second.
Buck. Yeah, go ahead.
You don't have to have chips, baby. I'm just gonna pause it for 1 second just so I could get him.
But I would also say on that point is, when we're just talking about children and, they're, because I mean, we talk about Mercury retrograde and we talk about full moons and we talk about things like that. Like they feel that energy much more than us because they're not conditioned yet. I mean, now my son is 13, so he's conditioned 6, 7, but it's at that point to where, at your son at 3, like they're so right there with spirit. They have so much more of an understanding of how to grapple with everything. And, when we were teaching our son, we were very much adamant about like, we're always just going to speak to him as if he's like not a child in that sense of like, I'm not going to dumb things down for you. I'm going to be age appropriate with you. But, it's one of those things where it's like, sometimes, what we do in meditation, they can follow, right? Where's that at in your body? You feel anger. Where's the anger at? Is it in the belly? Is it in the head? Is it in your throat? Is it in your back? Like, where are you feeling it at? And like, and help them like body scan. Like that's the body scan. And we do this as adults too. Like I know when I have my emotions come up, first off, I befriend mine. So I give them names. So like anger for me is Leonard. So when I'm feeling angry, I'm like, oh, Leonard, what the freak, bro? What is happening? Why are you showing up right now? I know you're here, but what's going on, Leonard? And it allows me to kind of like separate just a little bit from the emotion, but feel it at the same time. Like have conversations with it. Because I know we need to feel things because emotions are teaching us. They're trying to say, hey, something's up. Right. And if we have that awareness, we can get it. And I think children are exactly the same because half the time, I remember one time my son was so enraged. And I was like, what is happening right here?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he slams his door. I'm in my door and I was like, okay, well, I just want to let you know I'm outside the door and I'm just going to sit here. I'm with you and I love you. And I'm just going to be right here if you need me. Right. And I just sat there and like I could hear him crying and and then finally came out and I just said, can we scan your body? Can we just scan to see where you're at, where you feel everything at? And then by the time he scanned his whole body, he just said, I think I'm hangry.
Oh,
I think I'm just really hungry. And I said, well, is there any problem? He goes, no, I kind of feel silly. There's not really a problem. I think I'm just really hungry. And I was okay, well, let's get you food. Right. Yeah. So it's like all of that, and so sometimes it's us too. Like scan our bodies. Am I depleted of food? Am I depleted of thirst? Yeah. Am I depleted of meditation? Am I depleted of contact with someone? Am I depleted of remembering all of what I am? Right. Am I depleted of that? Sometimes scanning ourselves. And for me, befriending my emotions was the greatest gift I could do because it allowed me to be able to separate. And then with that practice, I was then able to, when I go into a trance state, which is channeling, I'm able to leave my human body and then my soul turns around and says goodbye to it. And then like I hold myself down here. I could feel myself hold myself down in my belly as I'm channeling through other spirits or other guides or whoever's channeling through to me. And that's an amazing feeling too, to be able to practice that at the same time, and to know what's going on, but like watching it all like it's a movie at the same time is pretty powerful too. So, yeah. And those are just things that I practice. I mean, it didn't come easy, but I just kept doing it, like riding a bike or playing basketball. And I know that seems whimsical, but it literally is the truth, right? If you want to learn how to make, the best, chili, you just constantly make chili until you get the recipe right, Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's how it was for me.
That's true. It's like going to the gym, basically. Like if you want to build the muscle, you have to keep going.
Yeah. You couldn't just wake up one day and pull that truck.
Yeah.
Push the truck. right? You've got to work
Yeah,
up to that.
exactly. I put a lot of time and dedication into it.
Exactly, exactly. And that's what it is. It's dedication to yourself, dedication to the practice. And it doesn't have to be, you know, one way, one road. Like every path can come from different directions. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? And I think that's the beauty of it.
mhm.
Yeah.
I like how you name your emotions.
Yeah.
Because I started befriending my emotions in the past couple, I would say in the past couple months,
Yeah.
and actually talking with them.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of naming them. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like
Mhm,
Sally is sadness, and I mean it's funny,
mhm,
Sally Lou who is my sadness.
mhm,
When like there's a difference between anger and rage, and I've
mhm.
learned that. So,
Mm, yeah,
rage is a guy named Steve, which is weird. Like Steve comes in and Steve is like rage, like, but
yeah,
he reminds me of like Macho Man Randy Savage. Like he's like comes out, he's like, hey, yeah. And it's like, oh Jesus.
yeah,
But and these are just like silly ways to be able to say, hey,
mhm,
this is not, you know, that whenever like when you first get into meditation, we end up in the condition. Let me no, I hear you, thank you. Whenever we go back, we hear these things that say, I am angry, I am mad, I am sad, right? We call it in.
mhm.
We're saying I am that. And it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
I had to learn not to do that, because
Yeah.
I am not that.
Mhm,
It is just that. And
yeah,
so, I am peace, or I am experiencing anger. I
mhm,
am experiencing sadness. I'm experiencing this. And when I go to that level, it brings me in this state of peace where I can at least look at something and
mhm,
not have an attachment to it. But
mhm.
I can understand it and look at it in consciousness
Right.
instead of in conditioning. Who
Yeah.
was it? Was it A.H. Almas who wrote The Unconditioned Mind? Like, try to go through life instead of in a conditioned mind, go through it in an unconditioned mind. I think it was a
Mhm,
diamond approach that we read.
mhm,
And that was pretty powerful in itself. It's like,
mhm.
bam, I love that idea, you know?
Yeah, you said something that hit me just now because I've been teaching my son how to name his emotions, and I realized
Mm-hmm.
he knows how to like name them,
Mm-hmm.
but I realized he's saying like I'm sad, I'm angry,
Mm-hmm.
but now I'm trying to teach him I feel instead
Mm-hmm.
of I
Yeah,
am because of what you
exactly.
just said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then go that next step
Mhm,
to, if you want to go that next step to, what's his name, Rosenberg, who did the nonviolent communication, who then teaches like, is that a thought or is that a feeling?
yeah.
Right. And I mean, I know 3 might be a little heavy to get that, but that's where I'm at with my son at 13. It's like,
Okay.
okay, well, that sounds like a thought. So are
Yeah.
you thinking that, or are you feeling that? Like, which one is
Mhm.
it, right?
Right,
And I
right.
and I think that's a beautiful thing to learn as well. Like, because oftentimes we will think that, you know,
Yeah.
especially when we're not
And you
understanding
think it,
that
and you won't even feel it
frequency.
until you're thinking it for too long.
Exactly. Too long. See, there it is. That too long conditioning where it's like, oh, I
Mhm,
think it's that. Is it that? Oh, it's got to be that.
mhm.
Yeah. And I should have said that. Or
Right.
next time I'm going to say this. Yeah. 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 It's crazy
Yeah.
when you're always looking at the outcome, you know? So,
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely yeah, it's been a process, and I've been, trying to teach my son, like, his naming his
mhm,
emotions and why he feels that way. So he is able to name some of them and explain
mhm,
why he feels that way.
yeah.
But, yeah, I know with time, it'll come.
Yeah. I can remember, during, like I told you, during COVID when I got out of the military, and that was like really the first time I really connected with my son, because I was either overseas at missions
Mhm,
or geographic bachelor in other areas of the state.
mhm,
It was like one of those times where relearning who we were together,
mhm,
you know, was beautiful. But I also found that the ways that I was parenting him was coming from my own abuse,
yeah.
right? And so there were many times where I would lash out like, ugh, right?
Mhm.
And I would go back to him later, or
Mhm.
sometimes in that moment, I would go, wait a second, I'm sorry. I am
Mhm.
coming at you from my own childhood and how I was parenting. So I
Mhm.
want to pause for a moment. I want to apologize to you for projecting.
Mhm.
And I also want to work out what we're going through here. Are you willing to sit with me for a moment in this pause while we work this out?
Mm.
And right. And again, he was
Yeah.
6. So he
Okay.
was 6 years old at that time. Right. And so it was just like, and a lot of times he said yes. I don't think he really understood what he was doing at the time, because it was like at this point his eyes were like this big, going, "I will do whatever you want as long as you don't yell at me." Right? Like he was just like, "Whatever you want. I'm sitting here straight." What? I think after a while it got to a point to where his empathy for me, of understanding my
Mm.
childhood, he heard how I was raised.
Mm.
And then from there was like, could not even fathom what that must be like, because
Mhm.
he's not in that. He's not in that
Right.
environment, right? And I had to understand, like, okay, I am constantly projecting. So now I'm in that stage where I can stop myself whenever I
Mhm.
see him. Like I
Like
said, grab
trigger
your
you?
shoes. Grab your shoes. Don't forget your shoes. We're walking out the door.
Mhm.
Grab the shoes. And then
Yeah.
you get a block down the street. Hey, where's your shoes? Oh,
Right.
sheet. It's like, okay.
So yeah.
Now, right, you get what I'm saying. So now it's just the part where it's just like, okay, that was your choice. You
Right.
forgot your shoes. I'm
Now
not
you
sure how
gotta
you're
get
going to
those
play,
shoes.
but here we are.
Oh, that's true. And letting their, I feel like, and letting their the consequence play out versus like saving it or fixing it type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I'm.
because the way that we parent, we've always believed that the whatever has happened has to match the consequence. So
Mhm.
it's not like, okay, but we're not big on punishment or anything like that, or big lectures.
Yeah.
We're just like, okay, so what happened here? Uh-huh.
Mhm.
What did we learn? Okay, great.
Yeah.
And how can you shift that for next time? And do you want us to remind you?
Mhm.
Right? I mean, because now at 13, we're here just to like guide. Like
Yeah.
that's not too much I can do. These, I can keep track of you, but
Yeah.
like it's pretty much, it it's pretty much gone now. If 6, 7 is like your world, I don't even know what to tell you. You're
Yeah.
lost. Yeah. But I think it's beautiful. I commend you. I congratulate you for at 3 years old teaching your son how do you
Mhm.
feel, because that
Mhm.
is powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank
You're
you.
already shifting. You're already shifting the way
Yeah.
men are looked at in our world, in our society.
Yeah. That's true. I thought about that too when I read something about how men have been raised and
Hmm.
how they've been raised to like suppress their feelings.
Yeah.
And yeah, men are the more sensitive, I guess, too, but
Yeah.
they're taught to just suppress it and
Yeah.
push it down. So
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't
I'm
it
definitely
wild? Yeah.
myself for being able
Yeah.
to. And there's times where my projection comes out and I do
Yeah.
like you did, like I'm able to actually like apologize. Like, okay, I might have
Hmm.
yelled too loud at one
Hmm.
point, and I was like, okay, I'm mommy sorry, for yelling. And that's not your fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at this age, I'm trying to explain it to him the best I can. And he
Yeah.
actually like seems to, it's like he just gets it and he'll just give me a hug or something.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I love that. I mean, even with like I have oracle cards everywhere. I have sounding bowls everywhere. And
Mhm.
there's times where I just either will grab one and look at it, or sounding bowls everywhere, and I just take it and like hear the vibe frequency, and I'll just
Mhm.
breathe it in. And I've had it for years
Mhm.
around my house now, that even my son now, like first day of school, he's like, "Okay, I need a deck. I need a
Oh,
deck to tell me how is my first day
that's
of school gonna go," right? And he'll pull a card,
yeah.
and it's exactly everything that he wanted to hear, right? And it's like he's seeing the beautiful and the trust of the energy of what's coming at him, right?
Mm,
And I think just the mirroring back of what is possible, right? You know,
right.
and shifting that reframing of words for him has
Mm-hmm.
helped me too. Like being able to reframe words, you know, from the have to, the get to the choose to is
Mm-hmm.
huge for me, right? The understanding that our society teaches us have to, we finally get to the get to, but with like, ugh, right? And then we can get to the choose to
Mm-hmm.
with like, okay, well, with whatever, right? Here I am, you know? And I think that's beautiful too. And to see that happen in just not just my family, but with my
Mm-hmm.
clients and with friends and things like that, is just like, it helps me feel like that's where we're moving into the new consciousness. That's where we're coming
Mm-hmm.
into the new earth. And that is just everything for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I do love that. It's like we can kind of see things from this higher perspective where we
Yeah.
see things shifting and evolving.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just amazing being able to like see that.
Yeah. And I would say that it's not to it, and then I would say it's like it's the practice, right? The practice that I was
Mhm,
talking about. It's like in the beginning, meditation was so hard for me. Like
mhm,
hard. Like you talking about being still? No. Like I mean,
mm,
a good even 3 years after my retirement, I was still 4 in the morning going for a run, lifting those weights, doing
mm,
what I mean, like doing it all. It's like now
mhm,
I've slowed down to where it's like now I'm meditating longer, and now I'm, you know, doing more movements with my body, and now I'm connecting
mhm,
more with Mother Earth and nature and
mhm,
pausing and taking it all in. And
mhm.
um you know, there's this quote that keeps coming in for you from a guide, and I don't know why they keep wanting me to tell it to you, but do you mind if I just share it with you real quick, so they can just get off my back for a moment?
Yeah, yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
not get off my back in a bad way, just like they're really wanting me to say it to you. So I just thought, um, I can't remember who the quote's by, but I know it's by somebody. I'm going to ask them real well. Okay, I'll say the quote. You ready? Okay. Can you say it just clearer? Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. No, what I'm asking is for I want you to say it, and then I'll say it, like I'll say a word, you say a word. You get what I'm saying? Okay. So that way it's clear. Okay, great. All right, are you ready? Sorry. I just had to make sure, like, because they're like blah, and I'm like, whoa, that's way too fast. I can't it's go slower. Um, so they're saying, okay, I am learning every day to allow the space between where I am and where I want to be to inspire me and not terrify me. They want you to know that you are right in that space, that you are doing a beautiful job at aligning yourself in between those two things of creating things that inspire you to not terrify you. And they congratulate you on that.
Oh.
So, yeah, thank you. Okay. All right,
Uh,
good.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that was
No, that's
beautiful.
awesome. I've definitely been it's like I've been able to feel presence sometimes
Hmm.
from them. And there's times where I've woken up at 3 a.m. and like really felt it, but I'm
Hmm.
still in that space where I'm trying to get to the point to be able to like hear them and know it's them.
Yeah. Well, you know, and what I would say with that, if I may,
Mhm,
is, you know, when we talk about remember who we are,
mhm,
it's one of those things where it's like you find what your strongest understanding is, or clair, whichever way you want to say it,
mhm,
and you lead with that. So if
mhm,
feeling was what it was for you, then use feeling, right?
mhm,
And then when you get to that feeling, you can say, okay, I've now gotten the feeling. Now I'm asking you to give that to me through sound. And
mm,
understanding that through sound can be not just through voice, but it could be your own voice. So for instance, like in that sense of like, see, you say you see a screwdriver on a table and you're
mhm,
like, why am I looking at a screwdriver? I don't need that. And then you go away for an hour and then you're like looking at, and you're like, oh my God, I need a screwdriver. And you're like, that's why I was looking at the screw. Like that is clairvoyance. That
mm,
is your own higher self saying you're going to need that screwdriver. Or when
mhm,
you're at the grocery store and you're going, I need ginger. Why do I need ginger? I don't think I
Yeah.
need ginger. What am I going to use with ginger? And then like 3 days later, you get sniffles and a sore throat.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So it's like a lot of times we think it's going to come through the way that maybe social media or other people have it, but remembering who you are is remembering how it comes through for you.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
that's the beauty of our own uniqueness.
Mm-hmm.
So when that quote that they came through for you about between where you are to inspire you and not terrify you, then I would say that they're trying to inform you of information, not through fear. So
Yeah.
anytime that you feel that it's questionable or fear or you're not
Mm-hmm.
trusting, that's when it's not them.
When it's
When
not that.
you know for a fact and you know what's right and you know what's happening,
Mm-hmm.
that's when it's you and them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
That's when that's actually what I've been learning over the past I would say over the past year really is just
yeah,
the difference between love and fear.
yeah,
Because there was a lot of things I didn't know what was fear that was
yeah,
still coming up, subconsciously.
yeah.
And so I've definitely been learning. But no, it's funny that you said feeling because feeling has always been I've always
Yeah, yeah.
been
They told me for you it's feeling.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
clairsentient. I've always felt
Clairsentient is
people's like I would take on people's emotions and not realize
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But looking back, I see, what that
Mhm.
was. And even now, yeah, when they said the feeling, I get the chills and I get the feeling of them whenever, yeah,
Yeah.
I do feel them, yeah.
And so I would take that and then I would move that outward. I'd be like,
Mm,
whenever you're wanting information,
mm,
keep awareness of what you're feeling. Keep awareness
mm,
of what you touch, what you come across, and how does it
mm,
feel, right? Because it could
mm,
be anything. It could be, and then once you get into that practice, then lead into the others, right?
mhm.
Go into the other things about what it's like,
Yeah.
because like even with you, like, oh, my son is feeling all these things. I would say
Mm,
you're 100% spot on. So then start talking to him about those things.
yeah, because I
Hey,
can feel everything I can feel everything
exactly.
that he's going through,
And
basically.
and I would even play with that part of he's telepathically already speaking to you about how he feels because he
Mm,
knows that that's how you receive information
mhm.
is through your feeling, your clairsentient. And
Yeah.
so that's a way for how he's communicating to you.
Yeah, it is pretty
Yeah.
crazy. I do feel like I have it like spot on basically of what
Yeah.
he's been feeling and why
Yeah.
he's acting the way he does.
Exactly. And when you take on other people's energy and you take on
Mhm,
all their other feelings, that's because they know
mhm,
you're clairsentient.
mhm.
Somehow, subconsciously, they know that you're clairsentient. So they're going to be like, yes, take it
Yeah.
from me. I can hold it. Right.
Right.
And
Yeah.
if you don't have your protections up, you're going to say, of course I will. Thank you. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
funny.
but it looks like you're finding that space
Mhm.
between it. And I think that's beautiful too. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I
yeah,
love
I celebrate you on that. That's beautiful. Yeah.
it.
But yeah, just practice.
Mhm,
There's no, everybody's always like, oh, I was born this way, or oh, I was this way, or oh, I was that way. It's like,
mhm.
okay, we all have it. We're all soul
Yeah.
beings.
I
We
have been
just,
talking to them more lately, and I do receive messages occasionally through like visual. Because there
yeah,
was one time where it was in the past few months. I want to say it was like at least in the past 4 months where I was already like conscious of things, and then I was in a situation where I wasn't sure how I was going to get home, and I
mm,
freaked out for a second. But then I was like, okay, breathe, calm down.
mm-hmm,
And then I was like, how am I going to get out of this situation? And then I saw a visual
bam,
of a phone because I didn't have my phone. I didn't know where it was. But it was a second phone that I had stashed away and I haven't been using.
uh-huh,
And it was in this bag in my car that night. And I never have it on me.
yeah,
And so I
yeah.
was able to use that phone and call to get my phone back and actually get home.
Oh, that's awesome. You see what I'm saying? Like, how amazing is that?
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
crazy. After that happened, I was like, okay, like,
But and I would go
trust
into
me,
that
guys.
exactly, and I would go into that thinking like, how did you work that? Did you think about an outcome? Did you like think that and then like pause and wait for an answer? Or was your mind already going? Right. So it's in one of those moments where it's like, okay, how come I received in that moment, but not in the others? And it's like,
Mhm.
pay attention to like, how did I hear that? How did I receive that? But I'm not receiving it over here. Because half the
Right.
time it's because you're already here, you weren't working out an outcome. Sometimes over here we are working out outcomes. Or
Oh,
over here, your mind is blank. You're
yeah.
just like ready to receive. And over here it's like you're like, I don't trust that's gonna happen. So let me just keep going over here, right? And
Yeah.
that's all the difference. And that's the practice of like, because yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that happens to me all the time. I'm
Seeing the
like, I'll be like, oh, I want somebody to bring me a cup of coffee. Bring me a cup of coffee.
right.
Fuck, no one's bringing me a cup of coffee, right? So it's like, okay, I'll go get my own cup of coffee, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's like going into that and just being playful with it.
Yeah.
It's, just being
I
playful with
literally
remembering. Yeah.
just sat and waited.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a time lapse between when I asked and when I got the visual.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
That's
wasn't, yeah,
awesome.
I was open. I wasn't trying to figure it out. I was just like, how?
Breathing. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. That's amazing. Yeah. And those are the moments, right?
Mhm.
And those are the moments to go back to and say, oh no, this is why I can trust.
Mhm.
This is why I know it can happen.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
moments here. Yeah. That's beautiful. Oh, I celebrate you. That's awesome.
No, I
That's
love this
awesome.
conversation. I usually end around 45 minutes, but
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
occasionally
Yeah.
I'll let it
Yeah.
go over.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, no, it was awesome having you on.
Yeah.
And we're probably gonna have to do another episode later on or something. But
Yeah. No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you for having this beautiful platform for
mhm.
everyone to listen and to remember. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it lights me up it's something I've become passionate about. So,
Yeah.
it just to be able to do this and speak to others about this type of stuff definitely like is my passion now.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Keep going.
So,
Keep
yeah.
going.
Um, so where can people find you if they want to get a hold of you, if they want to get a reading?
Yeah. So I have a website, www.coach-tammy.com. I'm all over the socials, Coach Tammy or Embrace Life Boldly podcast, all over there. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna add you on all the socials and
Yeah,
check out your podcast too. So
sounds good.
and then
And
I
I'll
do
have you,
ask,
and I'll have you on mine.
yeah, definitely. I'm down.
Yeah.
I've shown up on some people's podcasts, but yeah, I do ask one closing wisdom question to everybody, and it's basically just however you want to answer it. But if you could find one truth of our divinity, what would that truth be?
One truth of our divinity. What truth would that be?
Mhm.
Man, that is like a profound question. I think the one truth of our divinity is to know that we are the only ones we can be here for,
Mhm.
meaning that we have to help ourselves first before we can even think about being there for others. Like you
Mhm.
can do it, right? Like you can always support others, coach others, be there for others, and do it in such a loving, compassionate, empathetic, sympathetic way, always. But if you're thinking about it in a way of like, okay, this is why I'm good, then
Mhm.
that's the wrong way. To go
Mhm.
into it with that mind of like, I'm doing this because of I love, not to receive a thank you, not to receive gratitude, not to receive some sort of measure, but just doing it because you just love life and you love yourself. And that's
Mhm.
just what you want to do. Then that's the
Right.
beauty of it all. Yeah. I
See,
think
that's
that
the
is,
important part because I feel like
yeah.
I always enjoyed helping people, but I
Hmm.
realized that I was doing it for the thank yous and for to
Yeah.
feel wanted, basically.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
definitely a good point. I love that.
I always think of it a lot like this. We're the ones who fill our cup up, and the
Mhm.
residual is what everybody else receives.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely. I love that. It's been an honor having you on today. So thank you.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it has been fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will actually end it on that note, and
All right.
you guys have a great rest of your day.
All right. Bye.